ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear that toxic sound. Ring the bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear all that toxic sound. Ring the bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Maboyka, bienvenido, welcome. Warhub. You're hearing me. Yes, you should be hearing. Great. We're back. Greetings, man. Greetings. Again, here we are for another installment on Sundays. You know, people like to go to church. I figure, hey, listen, let me come out here and just share with you certain things. Okay. Even though traditionally well, I went to church on the Saturdays, you know, Pentecostals on Saturdays and Sundays. Then through Islam, we went to Juma on Friday, you know, and the Sabbath starts on Friday night all the way into Saturday night. And so, you know, those are practices, those are religious practices, rituals that goes on to have this honor for what they call the spiritual teachings and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Or honor for your ancestors too. You know, so there's different days the way things are done. On Thursday is like a spiritual day. You know, we do meditation and stuff like that. And we enhance our enhance our character and personality when you deal with what spirit is and means, the breath. So I just want to start off to just reaffirm things that we know. You know, this is what I know. Are you ready? Are you in there? Are you there? Which is here, which is where? Where are you? Which is here, which is there. Take the W over here. It's here right now. Are you here? Are you here? Touch yourself. You're in that body? All right. Well, let's go forward. This is a little crooked. Sorry. Yeah. This we know. We know one, which is Wahed, right? That all is, right? Papaut Kawun, the all expanding. That is an existence. The all, right? All persons, places, and things, and transcendental things, primordial beings. This is the all. You know what I'm saying? When you expand your mind. This we know, right? That's the one thing, the one supreme being. The supreme being is nature. The nature in nature of things is nature. All persons, places, and things. The all. You know what I'm saying? You can't take away from it because where will you get it from? It's not from the all. And you can't put nothing in it because where will you get it from? From the all. So the all is. That's the one thing we know. That all is. Papa Utka Woon is. We know two things. Two. We know that there's an agreeable being, right? A sociable being. And then we know there's a disagreeable and evil being, which is an antisociable being. We can see the difference, what's right and what's wrong. What's antisociable, what's sociable, and what's antisociable. What's agreeable and what's disagreeable. We know this. Two things. We know the balancement. We could, that's the dichotomy of nature, the two in nature. You know what I'm saying? That we know. Right from wrong. Right? We know this. We know now to distinguish what are antisociable behavior around us that can cause suppressive. And then we know sociable people that causes us to grow, causes our environment to grow, right? So we know two, right? We know three. We know when we look to the sun, we see the sun, Antumre, rising. It appears to be rising, okay? Thinking paradoxically. It appears to be rising. Because remember, there's a shift going on. There's a constant movement of the planet, so the shift, right? So we see the sun as Antumre, which is the rising of the sun. Oh, hold on 1 second before I continue on. Bondo, what's going on? What's going on, Bondo? Floyd, peace and blessings to you. Okay. So this we know that there's a appearing of a rising of the sun, which we call Antumre, Amtunre, right? Atumre. Then we know that the sun reaches a zenith, and that's the Atumre, what they call the noon. The noon, get it? Noon. The top half is the Antun, backwards noon, right? Nut. The noon is the Antun Reye. We know that. And then we know the Amun Reye. We know this, that it appears to be setting the sun. So we know the three abodes, which is the Amtumre, Antunre, and Amunre. And we can see the sun rising, sun zenith, and the sun setting. Those are three things that we know for sure. We observe it, right? And the abode of the mortals is the Amtumre. It's the abode of the mortals. Antunre is the sacred nine, the nine. Remember the 9 character and personality that the mother breathes in, that is through genetic, the breath in humanity, we breathing that in, the genetic blueprint, right? The genetic character and personality, those 9 sacred 9 beings. And those are the Inad, what they call the Inad in Nile Valley. And that's the Antumre. So you have the abode of the mortals, which they call in Arabic is Allahumma, or we say the Elohim, right? Then you have the Inad, which is the realm of Illah, right? Or Allah. Allahumma is the mortals. Allah is again, the Antunre, right? The Malakat, the realm of those beings, those primordial beings, the character personality, what they call, in other words, in religious call them angels, Malakat, angels. That's that realm. So you have the bottom realm. In Sumerian, it would be Anunnaki, right? In Hebrew, it's Elohim. In the Arabic, it's Allahumma, the realm of the mortals, right? Hierarchies of mortals. Then you have the realm of the character and personality, which is the sacred 9, which is the Amtunre, which is the zenith, Amtunre, which is the Anun, Allah, and the Illah, right? That realm. That's the second realm. Then the realm of the Amun-Re are your guardians, right? So the first world is the world of the physical beings, right? And those physical beings are your Nitiru, the Safun Taset, and the Nebus, right? The Natarus, right? And the guardians, the nine guardians, and the Nebu, right? You have the second world, which is the spiritual beings, which are your guardians, also your Natarus, right? The Enads and the Nebu, also. The last is the all, which is we all are in the all, right? And that is the source of it all, the source. So you have Anunnaki, right? The bottom, the what they call Lahut, you know, Nasat, the realm of Nasat. And bear with me. I'm just the people that know are gonna see the key. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to go into different schools at the same time. So you have in Nasat, you have the mortal beings, the Anunnakis, the Allahumma, and the Elohims, right? Then on the next step, which is the Amtumre, right? You have the Anun, Allah, and Illah. This is Malakut, the realm of Malakut, right? On the top realm, which you have, and that's Malakut, you have Lasat, right? Which is the realm of the source. The source of Illah is El. El is the source of Illah, and then it manifests down to Elohim. Al is the source of Allah, and it manifests to Allahumma. An is the source of Anun, and it manifests down to Anunnaki. You see that? Lahat, Malaka, and Nasat. I believe that's right. So these are the realms. So we know these three. Now we know four things. And we know Ta, Mu, Nefu, Set. Ta, earth. Mu, water. Ma, Moya, Mu, water. And we knew Nefu is breath. Naf, breath. And then we know Set, fire. Okay. Earth, water, wind, and fire. Okay. Then we know five things. This we know, that we have justice, we have truth, loyalty, commitment, and devotion. So five things we know. You should know. Justice, truth, loyalty, commitment, and devotion. Then there are six things that we should know. And that is, we should know freedom, we should know peace, we should know equality, we should know right, correct knowledge. We should know right and correct wisdom. And we should know right, correct overstanding. We gain a lot of understanding to reach an overstanding so we can stand firm in reasoning. You got that? You gain a lot of understanding to overstand something to stand in reasoning. See? So this we know. We know the seven existence. We know of Taunfin. We know physical existence. Existence. In order for you to create something, you got to get it. In order for you to create, you have to get it from something. You got to get it from existence. It has to already exist in order for you to alter it, manifest it. It exists already to manifest it and to create something, right? So we're going to segue to that until later, but we're going to continue into Genesis. We know also the existing of force, the force behind things, right? We know spiritual existence. Spiritual existence. That means the existence of characters and personalities out there. You can see lots of character and personalities around you. And you can see in things. That's animism, that you see spirit in everything. So you see character and personality. Mental existence. Mental existence is the way into spiritual. And we're gonna impact that in the lesson today, which is talking about how mental, the mentalizing, the visualization of things, and we're able to now learn about what is the character and personality of that particular thing that we're visualizing in order to manifest it to the physical. So, mental existence, we have existence of truth. Truth is truth. All these fools ducks when the truth is thrown at them. Truth is truth. Truth cannot be denied. There are people that manipulate the truth in order to tell a lie, because that's what truth is. That's what falsehood is. It's the opposite of putting all the pieces perfectly together. And when you put all the pieces perfectly together and it fits so perfectly together, see, I'm a polypath. I'm able to take different sciences and put it together, and it's like a puzzle. And you put the pieces together and you arrive at a total truth. Because all those pieces are half truths, which are falsified, which are broken pieces. So you have to put it together in order to get a clear understanding of things, right? So that's the existence of truth. You have the existence of reality. What is reality and what is illusion? So you have this existence of what is reality, and you have the existence of source, right? Those are the seven things I know, right? Seven things that I know is, again, the physical existence, the existence of force, the spiritual existence, the mental existence, the existence of truth, the existence of reality, the existence of source. Now we know eight things, and those are the eight gods. When you go into nature science, you go into chemistry, and those are Nun, Nunet, Het, Het, Ket, Keket, and Amun and Amunet. The sets of four that becomes eight. Hold on a second. And so those are the eight. On another lesson, we're going to impact that. We're going to you know open that up and study a little bit more into that and go into depth into that. If you're interested, just give me something to present to you and share with you what I know. I also know nine principles. Nine principles, okay, that we have what is called a spiritual me. Your spiritual existence. You're the spiritual me. I know my spiritual me. I know my character, my personality. That's the spiritual me. That's a principle. There's also a mental me, my mind. There's a spiritual me, a character, personality, and there's a mental me. And by utilizing the mental, we're able to learn about the spiritual. You see, that's the step. From the mental, you get to the spiritual step. From the physical, mental to spiritual, right? I know the body me, the heart, the body me. I can feel my body. I know the body me. I know there's a soul me, a soul. The soul is that energy. And in this energy, right, we're going to talk about that other principle, but I know that there's a soul, that I have a soul, a solar. I know that plasmatic me. I know that there's a plasmatic me. You know what I'm saying? Very important. Plasma, that liquid. We know that that's in existence. We know that we have that. I know the etheric me, the ahahia niya, ahahia niya me. I know this an etheric me. And we have spoken about that. We have spoken about all those from the color spectrum and the energy center, the Azab Kabat energy center, Quabat. Quabat is center, energy, Azab. Azab Quabat, the energy center, right? And then we also know that there's a physical heart of mine, my physical heart, right? And then we know there's a spiritual heart, the Ab, right? Kulbi, Ab, Kub, the heart. So there's a spiritual heart and there's a physical heart. And then I know Sakam, which is the spark of life. Your spark. What sparks? That's getting to the source. That's the Sakam. And these sparks, again, coming from the electromagnetic force, are being funneled into your etheric eggshell body, which is the etheric body, right? Hat, the ahach, ahachiya hat body, right? That's the ahachiya niya, the etheric me, right? The energy, azab, energy. Those are those nine principles, you know. And I once want to say that glory be to all the guardians, and sustainer, possessors of majesty, the imperial majesties, and all the chief, the sustainers of all those seats of chiefs and all those lineages. You know what I'm saying? Glory be to those heavenly parents, those stars, those character personalities, those primordial beings that are also our ancestors, went back to becoming primordial beings and are being um are guiding us with the stars, are guiding us with the stars, which is connected to your genetic blueprint. Oh, Heavenly One, no mortal will exist as a deity. The women deities are men, called gods are men. When you look into the word God, Gumar Az in the Bad, when you look into that realm of mortal men are called gods and goddesses. Okay. No mortal will exist as deity if you didn't appoint them or conceive us. Okay. Now, I wanted to go into the topic about the blueprint. And I got to pull it up. I enjoy doing this because I'm just sharing at the same time. I'm documenting this. And as it goes on, I listen to it. And and I'm learning. I am learning also. I'm learning. I'm learning this as I go. You know what I'm saying? Remember, it don't come from us, it comes through us. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, pull up the Bible. I think I should put up the Bible concordance, right? Or the blue letter. Yeah, let's put up the blue letter. Hold on one second. We put up the blue letter because I think that the blue letter, for some reason, is more accurate here. Genesis, Genesis. Yeah. So we spoke last week, and I'm just going to give recap just a little bit of it. Let me share my screen. I just want to recap just a just a touch on it, of what we spoke about, and that is the womb. Where is it? All right, there you go. What we spoke about is esoteric, inner silence, is taking all these schools and thoughts and internalizing it into who you really are here within yourself. Okay, very important. We spoke about in Genesis. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't need to put this up. I'm sorry about that. I was going into the blue letter. Let me see. Sorry about that, y'all. What's going on, Jeremiah Judah? You want to listen in to this? We're going to go into some sacred science here. And a lot of this has to do with the paradigm of Israel. Again, Israel. We'll break that down a little bit, which is very interesting. And also, the Muhammad and everything. Because remember, all these schools of thoughts come from one source. Come from one source. You know what I'm saying? And so we're internalizing a lot of these teachings. Let me bring it up over here. Let's see. Let me share my screen. Um, this is it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So again, I'm saying people say, well, we call ourselves Israelites, with Israel. So remember, El is the source. Israel means to ascend. It's ascend and descend. It's a movement. Isra is a movement. It's to ascend to the source, which is El, which what Jacob did when he was lying down with the rock, the pineal, and peep the words, pineal, 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 that rock. You know what I'm saying? The pineal, and as he went to sleep, he astral project according to that narrative. When you read it really good, we're going to get into that. And so he ascended. He's seeing Malakut, those guardians ascending and descending. And remember, he grabbed one of them and he wrestled with him. And since he wrestled with him, and he wanted to get that blessings, and he wrestled him with him in his astral projection, in his like dreamlike state, he was known as Israel from then on, because he was able to now grab the source. And that's what it is. And a lot of these sciences do come from the Nile Valley. A lot of these, you could trace it back to stories in the Nile Valley, and I'll find it for you, the story. And a lot of it Sumerian story where they wrestle against gods. Mortal men wrestling against gods. Mortal men wrestling against judges and gods and overseers. emperors, and then from then on, as they became victorious, they were giving another name, like Hercules. You know what I'm saying? They were giving another name. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you get that from. So a lot of these teachings are from Nile Valley teachings, right? And a lot of the source of it also comes from the Ma, where we're going to go on here with the Ma Federation. The Ma Federation wasn't a civilization, wasn't the first civilization, so I have to correct myself. Was the first federation. A federation can become a civilization, right? But a federation is not a civilization. But a civilization consists of federation. So you just have to define what is a federation and what is a civilization. So it was it's the first federalization that formed around the Nile Valley, the Ma people, Maande language. The Ma people formed the Ma Federation, which was your hunter-gatherer, fisher hunter-gatherers. They were hunting game with the arrow and bow, and they were also fishing with the spears on the water aqueducts in from the Sahara all the way down to the Niger Congo basins, to the Congo basins, all the way down to South Africa, Uganda, and all. These were people, Twa people, Anath people, San and Khoi people, you know what I'm saying? People that migrated into this area and formed the first federation for society, for again, hunting parties, fishing party and whatever, and created pottery, and is a cultural expression. That environment, they expressed that. They cultivated their conditions at that time, which was very flourishing garden. The Sahara Desert was a very flourishing gardens. They found fauna, they found fossils, and they found glyphs on walls. They found scripts in that part right there. And when you look at those glyphs, you see resemble a lot of that with the what they call Paleo Hebrew glyph, right? You see, because these are people that spread out into the Sumuria area, becoming Magari. They spread out to the Dravidian, into India, becoming the Indian Kush, right? And then Kushites, and on and on and on, even going into the Iberia, what they call Mauritania. And when the Sahara started to lose its condition, and it wasn't no longer green and foraging, it became a desert. And that's another story we can get into. But anyway, looking at this here, the topic, shalom. Well, the topic, we're going to go into blueprint of how, when you read, how to read the Bible for comprehension. So when we're looking at from the Nile Valley perspective and from a comprehensive perspective, we're reading this. What's up, Sandro? And so we see that in the beginning. So remember, in the beginning, if you look at in Hebrew, when you look at the in the beginning word, right, you're looking at the beginning, the first, the chief choice part, right? You're looking at first in place, in the time, order, or rank. So there is other beginnings happening, but inside what this condition of things happening for the first time in this particular area, you see, in this particular area, one second, I'm sorry. In that particular area, what it says here, the Elohim, plural. So we spoke about that. We spoke about that while the beginning of things is happening, and we took it back to the Ma. We took it back into the womb. See, this is esoteric now. Back into the womb. Because what's happening in the womb is the same thing that's happening in Genesis. Because if you look at the word Genesis, gene of what? Genus. Gene device, gene. You see the word gene in Genesis. So it has to do a lot with genetic blueprint. This is a blueprint. This is happening in the womb of our mothers. While this is happening, this condition is taking place, again, the Elohim, those character and personality, when we talk about the 9 enads, those 9 character personalities that was inscribed in ancient Kemet and held as a sacred science in ancient Kemet, so that initiated from the Levant. If you're Israelite, you go into Kemet to learn more about the inner teachings of the scriptures, of the narrative of what everything comes out. Your beginning started in the womb of your mother. The beginning of the multiverse started in the womb of the star cluster. It's a blueprint. You could follow this. When you want to see the beginning of you go to you see that it is in the womb. And in the womb, you have certain conditions. You have triple darkness. So anything that grows, you got plants that grow and stuff. It's got to have darkness. Overnight is when you see the plants sprouting. During the day, you don't see it. Only at night. You wake up in the night, you see some sprout, right? Because it needs those conditions to grow. It needs, again, moisture, moya, right? Moya, it needs that. It needs darkness, right? It needs blackness, because all the possibility, anything that can exist is in that blackness, right? And it needs water, and it needs earth. It needs some type of earth, right? So, let me go back. In the womb, the earth or the flesh or the ground, from dust to dust, you go back into the ground from dust. You also are dust particles are forming in the fetus, because the mother, remember, her nose grows and she's breathing. There's more viruses and bacteria that turns into dust and dust particle in the air than there is on the ground. Check that out. There's more viruses in the air than there is on the ground, and bacteria in the air. So she has to breathe that in. Her nostril gets huge, and she starts smelling everything. She becomes so sensitive, and so she's taking in it. So in the beginning, without form, void in darkness, and the face of the deep. What deep? In the deep of the water, because the spirit, the actual breath, spiritos of the Elohims, those character and personality was moving upon the face of the waters, in the deep part of the waters, in the womb of the mom. And because she's breathing in character and personalities that are there, this breath of it is there in the genetic blueprint. Those are the the major 9 character. There are other personalities that's going to come through your genetics, the 30 personalities, right? But you have 9 principal ones, ancient personalities that has to pass on through humanity. That's the reason why we have certain abilities to do certain things that are passed on. So when we start going into our ancient ancestors and learning about those character and personalities, we gain strength. We strengthen our character and personalities. See? So we get back to the source of thing, which is the womb. And that's what the Israelite paradigm, this is sacred teaching of Melchizedek, right? Under the order of Melchizedek, where Jesus was a high priest under the order of Melchizedek. This is the teaching of Tahuti, because Tahuti was the one with the green shade around him, was also equivalent to Melchizedek. But that's another conversation. And then the Elohim said, right in there, consciousness was born, because it said, let there be light. In that darkness, those character and personalities, right, facilitated consciousness, which you get of this awareness because of what is lit up. Consciousness is a ball of light. Let there be light, a ball of light. Consciousness came about because the breathing, right, of those electromagnetic forces, the breathing of the character personality, and the electromagnetic forces that come from the sun, the outer sun and the inner sun, which is the solar plexus. The solar plexus, that sun created, that sun passed on a consciousness. And let me bring something up here. One second. That wherever awareness go, energy flow. So the awareness was right there. And so the energy started flowing, the consciousness within the womb. Let me give you 1 second. Thank you, Brando. Very interesting. Yeah, thank you for listening. So when you read the scriptures in this particular perspective, you're going back into the womb, the ma. You're going back into the womb where everything starts. The genealogy, the genealogy. And then they said it starts with Isis, right? But we're not going to go there for my Israelite brothers and sisters. Just Genesis, gene. It all starts in the beginning with genetic makeup. It all starts in the womb of the mother, you see? And then you have, again, the two, darkness and day, right? The two things that we, but then that goes on later on. Now, here's the thing as we read on. I'm not going to keep going to the firmament and on and on and on. But I want you, when you start reading Genesis and you start reading on, and God called the firmament in heaven, and God said, let there be waters under the heaven, right? And together one place. And you go on, and God said, let it bring forth grass and seed and all of this in the evening. And he said, let there be a firmament in heaven divided. Like and let and talk about the two lesser lights, right? All this comes into play. These are creating the whales, and so and so. And God said, let it bring forth living creatures. Let it bring man's in our image. You see this? So now you think this has actually happened? This is the blueprint. Because he's using words like, so God created man in his own image. An image is a blueprint. A blueprint. In the image of God created him. Male and female created he them. You see that? The image, the blueprint of, again, X and Y. The blueprint of the masculine and feminine. This is all about, and how do we know this is a blueprint? Well, you got to keep reading on, and I'm going to let you know. Because now he's telling you about the herb, the seeds, and so and so and so, right? Now let's go into Genesis 2. Let me see. So the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And then on the seventh day, God, the Elohim ended his work, and he made, and you got to understand the terminology. But let's just read it as it is. Okay. Well, actually, let's read it on concordance, because it's saying here, and the seventh day, again, on the seventh day, the Elohim, plural, Elohim, plural. Even if you want to say the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, whatever you want to say, but it's still plural, right? And did his work. And he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work, right? That he, well, they always say, they use the word he, but it's not. They just put that as to confuse you. But actually that word, which is asa means to do or to work, to deal. It doesn't say he worked or he did. It's the Elohim. You see, they trick you. They singularize things. But they're talking about a blueprint, and they're talking about in plural. All of us come from the womb. All of us come from the womb. And so that's the blueprint, right? Let's go further on, right? So again, and sanctify he let me see, created heaven and then on and on. Plant the eastward out of the ground, grow tree. Now look, Genesis 1 talks about how every plant of the field before he was in the earth, and every herb of the field before he grew was Jehovah, the Elohim, a specific Jehovah, has not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But in Genesis 1, you read that he created him male and female. So you see, Genesis 1 is the blueprint. It's like an architecture. You have to create a blueprint first. You have to create the blue. That's the mental, right? All this blueprint, everything in spiritual, character, personality are like blueprints. It's superimposed the physical, and the way you get to the spiritual is through the mental, is through that blueprint. So you see, Genesis 1 is speaking about a blueprint that was being architected by these gods, by the Elohims, by these character and personality, this breath within the what? The genetic blueprint within the womb of our mothers. And then things started to manifest because everything is already pre-ordered. It's a blueprint. It's an order of things that's been passed on through nature, natural nature. And it's a condition, what they call intelligent design. You know what I'm saying? So that's the blueprint. When you come into Genesis 2, then you actually see the manifestation. And it speaks about a location. A location. It's giving you the location of the garden of what they call Eden, or which is called Gan. Let's look it up. Eden, Aden, right? With the garden, associated with the garden, a pleasant country in Asia. This is in the Gasenius Hebrew Chaldee lexicon. A pleasant country in Asia, in which the garden was the first created human beings were placed, right? Human beings were placed in this garden. Wasn't created there. It was placed in this garden of Eden. And then you look at linguistics, Adam, where you get the word Adam. So Eden is the place, Adam is the person, right? And Midan would be, again, a thing. The various opinions as to the locality of terrestrial paradise are stated and discussed. Okay. It's discussed in the Bible, it's discussed, okay, they discussed this. All right. Sorry. So we see Eden also was a garden that was placed the whole continent. But you see, like I said, I'm a polypath. So I take other sciences and I fit into the pieces. And I see, wait, listen, is this biblical narrative? If it's true, it has to fit the pieces. It has to fit the pieces. You have to do your homework. So we look into oceanography, geographical oceanography, and we look at the supercontinent. I brought up that book before. You can read that book about the supercontinent. And you had 3 supercontinents. You had Pangea. You get it? Pangea, Gaia, Pangea, Ganawa, and what is it? Rhodesia was another one. I should have put it up, and I'm not going to do that on this one. We'll do that on a Scientific Tuesday. But you see, it has to add up. So we're looking at Ganawa. And in this landmass, around where Asia was these rivers flowing out of it. When you do the study on that. Oh, sorry. You know? And so it's giving you a location of where the actual garden, where in the continent of Ganawa, there was a garden that was placed there. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is spiritual teaching, right? This is the blueprint, and now it manifests as the very breath of character and personalities. The study of character and personality. So these character and personalities shaped us in the womb and placed us at a particular garden or place, a pleasant place, in the arms of your mothers, right? In the household, place you. That will be considered to be a garden. You're protected. You're protected by the father, the mother, your brother and sister. Protect the child. You know what I'm saying? You are being put in the crib. Fence is around you. You know what I'm saying? When we go further into this. So you have 4 water heads, water feeding it into Eden. The first one is Pison. The second one, which is encompassed with the whole land of Havilah. When you look at Havilah, where you have Havilah, Ethiopia, and all that, what river, waters flow through there? The Nile Valley, the Nile River, Happy River. flows through there. And it even tells you because in that land was good. And there is billium, which is like a silver, a billium, a mineral, and there's oxens, a black stone. Onyx is a black stones grow there. And the second one was Gihon, as encompasses the whole land of Ethiopia. So you have these two rivers, right? When they meeting at, where these two rivers are meeting at, is the junction in Sudan, they meet, and that's where you find the character and personality at Hidra, the junction of the two Nile, what they call Hidra or Tahuti, at the junction of the two Nile. Okay? So you have Ethiopia, you have Havilah, also this is known as Gush, and then you have a third one, Hedeka, which is towards Assyria. So you have a whole area that at one time in Ganawa was together. When you look at India, it was together. India was more closer to Mozambique in that area, the Horns of Africa. All those rivers were in there. There was a land mass. So you have to, in order to really overstand and see this blueprint and to overstand this narrative, you got to go to oceanography. You got to study oceanography, geographical oceanography. And you got to study how the continental plate. You got to study about Ganawa, Pangaea, and then how that went into Ganawa. And we'll do that one day under scientific. So, again, Genesis 1, you're looking at the blueprint. And he's already establishing it's going to be masculine and feminine. Then when you get to Genesis 2, you're looking at a location as to where to place. God seen that it's good. Now here, yeah, I missed it. Where is it? Okay. So man is formed from the dust of the ground and breath into his nostril, the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Right? And he planted a garden eastward of Eden, right? Now, here's the thing. Everything that God made, he always said it was good. It was good. But when it came to form man, he didn't say it was so good. There was something in there. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to point that out. Just give you the location, right? Tulsa, Assyria. Now, and also the fourth river in Euphrates, right? And then he took Adam that he already created. He created Adam, right? The blueprint, he created him from the dust, right? From the genetic makeup. That's what he says. Did Adam have a mother and father? Yes. Lilith wasn't his wife. Lilith was his mother. Atum was his father. They were Cushites and Watutsi. Tribes from the Ma Federation, tribes from the central of Africa. And so the genetics was taken, genetics was taken and put in this garden to tend it. And we're going to talk about the garden because it talks of, and I'm going to speak about it briefly, and we're going to really impact this. So again, the blueprint is there. The blueprint is how we should guides us to how we live our spiritual life. To understand this. Now, this is coming from biblical perspective, from a Semitic perspective. The Bible has a lot of the documents, a lot of the tablets, holy tablets, has been, again, you got to understand of how economic works. When you see you're a new civilization, you see another civilization thriving, and you get to study them. And you get to see that in the core of every civilization is a spiritual, is a temple. There's some type of temple at the core of it. If you look at ancient Kemet, any ancient civilization, at the core of it is always a temple. Even to this day. You go to any city in New York, you go to any city, any borough, actually you go to any city in the United States, all around the world, at the core of it is a very old church, a very old church. Because when you understand, Zay, assalamu alaikum, Papa. Because when you see civilization, and this has been studied, this is social political, social economics, knowing that the center of it is some type of spiritual practice, because that's the blueprint. The blueprint. The secrets of genetic blueprint is held within that blueprint. And through times, it became religion. Again, it became binding. It became, again, legare, binding, legions, binding to you. But a lot of these spiritual teaching comes from a predated teaching. It comes from a predated teaching. When you look at other civilizations. So they study civilizations and they see the economics and they see the center. And so they took that teaching, reformed it, rebranded, and then created the economic base. So in Christianity, the economic base in the Roman Empire was Vatican City. In the Romans was the Vatican City. Became so successful that it became his own country, his own city state, nation state. In the center of the Islamic world, right, is Mecca. Mecca was a marketplace where all these tribes came, right, and conduct their economics. Mecca is a marketplace. Jerusalem also was a marketplace. All of those Semitic tribes throughout Sumeria, Asiatic tribes, gathered at Jerusalem. King Solomon was very, very rich, knew this, economics. All deals with economics. So the Bible is a book, is a blueprint. It's a playbook. As I always say, it's a playbook. It's a blueprint of how this society, known as Lutheranism, Paulinism, Lutheranism, their economics, the churches, right? In the synagogue will be the Tanakh, right? That was taken from older. The Jews saw, the Azahnaki saw how in Sumeria was successful in their economics. Because when you look at the cuneiform and you look at a lot of those stone tablets, they're tax records. They're actually accounting records. So at the core of it is economics. So with my Israelite brothers, again, the core of it is economics. And that economic, again, different civilization that grew looked at other civilizations and wanted to be like them. Bunch of federations got together and formed a civilization. That's what happened in ancient Kemet with the Ma Federation and the other Kushite, all these, and they branched it out and became all these sub-federations, and they came together and they became what? Kemet. They became Kemet, a marketplace. When you study Kemet, you see a marketplace. You see this a lot. Excuse me one second. Yeah. So, again, Unri Church, KRST, Church of KRST, and we are acknowledging all the schools of thought. My Israelite brothers, I acknowledge you. My Muslim brothers, I acknowledge you. My Christian brothers, I acknowledge you. My Buddhist brother, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge all these schools of thought. My free mainstream brothers, I acknowledge you. The occultists, I acknowledge all these schools. Because when you study all these schools and you get to see the core of the school, and then when you follow the core and the source of it, and listen, we all say Ma. Doesn't matter what language you speak. I can go to China, go to Russia, anywhere. And you don't teach children your language, they're going to be going, Ma, 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 or Mommy, Ma, 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 ui, am. You know what I'm saying? Am, tam, am, sustenance. You know, that's the core of it. And so in the Israelite paradigm, you see that core also. You know what I'm saying? The source of it. And the Canaanites were, again, people coming out of the Nile Valley and going in, hunter gatherers, going in and becoming a federation and becoming a civilization, Canaanites. Because and then if you look at the scriptures with Noah and you look at Ham and Canaanite, Ham, all goes to Hamitu and Semitic. So I understand my Israelite brothers because again, we're being caught up in the fraction. We're being caught up, right? We're not going back to the source, back to the source of it all. The source of the Israelite paradigm, we have to go back into Ibrahim. So also the Muslims, Milato Ibrahim, got to go back to Ibrahim. So you're both coming to the source of Ibrahim. And Ibrahim was from Chaldea, Ur, right? And so he called upon Elion El. When he went into ancient Kemet, he started to call on another, right? He started to call on other deities, right? And other overseers, judges, overseers, right? He started to call upon other dignitaries, political, if you want to look at it like that. But the structure of which he really came from, which he got away from because he traveled, right? He was a merchant. He traveled with cattle, and he traveled, right, into ancient Kemet. But the source of it for him, and understand from that perspective, from that civilization, would be Elion El. Because all around that section, that was the source. And they tied into Elion, right? Look at the movie Elusius. Elion El. That's the source. From the stars. That's the reason why you have a 6-pointed star. Also, star is star worshiping. As we get the Sabiic, Saba. It's all interrelated. All interrelated. And so a lot of the Kushites went into India, went into becoming the what they call the untouchables over there, which is very derogatory, but the Hindus, certain Hindus, Nubian Hindus, Kushite Hindus, became also Canaanites, became other tribes, Canaanites, Mayindan, and so on. So again, when you look at the scriptures, you're seeing a blueprint of a spiritual life. But now you have to bring it down to the mental, and you got to look at the character, personality, and you got to see the pattern, right? And how it relates. And then again, like I said, you have to take all these different sciences, and you have to involve these other sciences and see, do these pieces fit perfectly together? Can I make sense out of this? Can I stand to reason this by putting it all together? Or do I have just bits and pieces? Because we all have bits and pieces, but can I put my pieces together with this brother and come to an agreement on something? Because then we're dealing with reality. Now we're really communicating. Because we're dealing with a reality. Because you see, if I point to that chair and you see that chair, that's a reality. Now we can communicate about that chair because we both see that chair. Same thing with these schools of thoughts. I can communicate with an Israelite brother because I see his reality. I see it. And I'm careful because your reality, that light can be offset by illusion. Right? Your truth can be offset by lies. It could be fractalized. So we have to grow. It's all about, again, papaut, expansion. You have to expand and put those pieces perfectly together to arrive at a truth. To arrive at a truth. So looking at Genesis 2, we already see the blueprint and now the manifestation. This is the word of power. This is taking vocalization with visualization and creating a manifestation. You know? So, you have biblical scholars, you have people that'll say that, and look at this. In the beginning, so in the beginning in Genesis 1, we're looking at God, right? We're looking at Elohim. But when it comes down to Genesis 2, now you have a, look at this, Yahuwah, Yehovah, Yehovah, an existing one, a particular Elohim took charge, a particular one. You had a group, now the main honcho steps up to the plate here, and he becomes a what? An existing one, self-existent, eternal one, right? Name of a supreme one God amongst the Hebrews, okay? So he became a Yahuwah, specifically a Yahuwah, right? That was able to take visualization and bring about a manifestation. At first, it was all of the Elohims getting together and forming a council and creating a blueprint. Now it's up to one of them to go out and the architect, the engineer, to go out there and start manifesting. And that's what you get, Yahuwah, the tone of Hua. You got to look at a podcast I did with magic, nature magic, and about Hua being the vocalization, Hua, the vocalization, and Yaye, Sai is the visualization, the perspective mind, the perspective mind. You have the utterance of who, breath, who. When you put life into something, a dead body, you pucker up, you go, and that's who. You're giving life, right? That's who, who, life. Who, who, ilah, el, ilah, who, right? Then you give manifestation, which is he, ka, spirit, character, and personality. That's the breakdown of that. You know what I'm saying? So one of the Elohim stepped up to the plate and was in charge of, again, manifesting, creating that physical, that nature magic, or that nature condition, and manifesting something, squeezing out from blackness, squeezing out protons and phonons and protons and bias and zealots and creating atoms. That's another science that we can go into one day. Now, when it talks about the women, now, yes, women were on the planet first. Women were on the planet first. Because it was complete. X and X. Women were on the planet first. But in that X was a Y. You see? So the feminine and masculine are both. Because remember, he created both. Feminine and masculine is both. The blueprint is there. But when it came into manifesting it, it had to be complete. So it had to be the X and X. Right? Out of that X and X, you get the X, you get a Y out of the X. If you look at it, look at the X, you can see a Y in there. Just eliminate one of the stems. So it's there. It's there submerged until an alteration had to take place. A mutation has to take place. And that's in the womb. A mutation takes place. But it's complete, right? But then the mutation comes play because there's another sequence, as a Y chromosome sequence, that's being interjected by the fathers. You can only get that from the father. It's passed down from father to son. So that's the masculine. That's that energy. Very important. Both feminine energy and masculine energy is so important. So when they created the Adamic race, they took Watutsi and Cushites, right? The child, right? They took the Watutsis from the Congo basins. They took the Watutsi, the Bantu, the Watutsi, and genetically Watutsi, and mated it with a Cushite that came from India. So it was Atum was a leader there, right? And Lilith was a leader. No, Atum was the leader of the Watutsi, and Lilith was the leader of the Cushites. That together, they created Adam. So again, when it caused a sleep to fell upon Adam, asleep, they took the genetics of Adam and placed it in the Nile Valley with Anath, was the mother. Anath was a people, and the Patahites. So they took the genetics and again put it into an Anath, the mother of what they call Eve, Hakauba. You see? You can take genetics, you can put the pieces together. This already was done for us. I'm just regurgitating this. So bear with me. This is bringing, instead of being so spooked out there, this is bringing a reality, because this is a blueprint, a reality. And again, we have to take it back, rebrand it, reform it, and rebrand it for ourselves, so as to arm our youth with the proper knowledge so they don't become enslaved and conquered anymore. As Abiso Campos said that. So again, the Adam was a people, Adamic, right? Men, priests, and taking the genetics for Adam and putting it into a woman. Remember, he created females and males. In the beginning, that's in the blueprint. So if I take a female and a male, and I have a male child because of the Y chromosome, and then in that male child, right, I take his genes, his X, because he's X and Y. I'm taking his X and putting it into a female's X. So it becomes XXX, not XXY. It's XXX, a genetic sequence. Again, from the Nile Valley, the Patahites and the Anath people were what they call pygmies, derogatory, but smaller stature of people, in stature out throughout the Nile. So Eve was short in stature, and Adam was Watuti, high in stature. That's where you get the mixture of sizes in human beings, in the Adamic, because that's not in the human being, in the Adamic. We're speaking about the Adamic, is specific people, Asiatic people that was placed where? In a specific place. All throughout Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, Havila, a little bit into Kemet, into Saudi Arabia, into Assyria. So Assyria now, Iran and Iraq. These Adamic people are a combination of this Cushites, Tutsi, right? Ana and Patite. And bear in mind that the Anath and even the Twa people, their color are lighter. They're not really, really dark skin, black, like onyx black. Now the Watutsi and the Kushite were more darker. So you get a different hue right there. Eve was like saying high yellow. You know what I'm saying? Because you got all those species, all those colored species in Africa. Look at the San people, right? Look at their complexion. And then you go into Kushite in India, the Kushites, the Hindu, you look at their complexion. So you get a variation of different complexion in the Asiatic, in the Adamic race. So remember, this is a blueprint, and this is speaking about a particular place. This is not speaking about the Congo Basin or Nile Valley. This is speaking about another place, Asiatic. And this is part of a lot of us have this bloodline that comes from this place. That's why we say Afro-Asiatic, because of the migration. Remember, the Africans, the Ma Federation, spread out into all of these different territories. But then again, they came back, migrated back into these places. You got to look at the time sequence of things. So here, with that's what we call ribba. The rib is that genetic, that piece that was taken from Adam and put in the womb of Anak and birthing Hakeba. Adam was Zakar, means to remember. Adam wasn't his name. Adam means a lifeblood. Adamic people. That was what he was, a lifeblood. And Nakeba, mother of living, was her name. So you had Zakar and Nakeba. And that you could see that in Bible Concordance. I should put it up anyway. The bones of my bones, the flesh of my flesh, and she should be called a womb, the woman, because she was taken out of man. That's a particular, it's called genetic engineering in ancient time. Okay? But in all reality, in the broader perspective, yes, the feminine, well, the feminine masculine were here, but the feminine is manifested first. Feminine energy manifested. But within that feminine energy, there was a masculine energy already existing. Again, Tai Chi. Tai Chi. Within the male, the masculine, there's a femininity in there too, because he also has nipples. You know what I'm saying? The only difference between man and a woman, right, is the manifestation of the enlongment and the manifestation of different things that man can do that women can do, and different things that man can do that women can't do, and things that women can do that man can't do. There's many things that women can't do that man can do. So there's a total balance. So in the Nile Valley, they spoke about balancement. You can't have feminine if you don't have masculine. And you can't have masculine if you don't have feminine. It was balanced. Balanced. So those out here speaking that narrative, feminist narrative and all that, cut it out. Because within the feminine, there is the masculine. Within the X, there's a Y. There's a Y in there. You can actually draw a Y within the X. And then when you have a Y, the only way to get an X is by adding on something. Adding on something. Adding on a stem. See? So it's a matter of perspective for how you're looking at it. Okay? So it's giving you the blueprint of character, personality, and therefore when a man leaves his mother and father, he should cleave unto his wife. Because again, and they should be one flesh. Again, the idea, the idea that you come, the genetic, the mitochondria and the genetic blueprint is very strong within the feminine line. That's the reason why in ancient Kemet, the pharaohs, the throne, the pharaoh, a male sit on the throne, but the throne is the woman's family. It's the one that created the throne. That's the throne. That's when you look at the throne of Pharaoh on the side, it has two feminine, it has two women breasts on the side. Because they understood It's the women line genetics that establishes the throne. Man just sits on the throne and oversees the affairs for the women family. For the women. That's economics. That's economics. Okay. So this is the blueprint. Now I don't want to stay too long. Peace and blessings to y'all. To you all. Salute. Hey, what's up? Mario. Mario. Jeremiah Judah. Um, thank you very much for listening. You know what I'm saying? Um, maybe one Sunday I'll put um I would put, as a matter of fact, let me put my email on here. And Jeremiah Jewel, we can have a bill. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to bring you on. I enjoy the Lion's Den. It was crazy, but I enjoy that. I enjoy Sonetta sometimes, you know. And sometimes I have to step back, step away from a lot of things. Because again, understanding that and with our people with the suppressive environments and the sorry, anti-sociable narratives and anti-sociable conditioning, we have to be careful because it can make me sick. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be very, very careful. And the lines then were very interesting. Your guys went in, and I like to contribute at sometimes, and also like I contribute to Sonetta and stuff like that. So I definitely do that. That is my email. Get at me. Make sure that in the subject matter that you put who you are, so I know, because sometimes the email Gmail might carry another name. You know what I'm saying? So just to get everything right in the subject matter, just put this is who I am, blah, 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 and I can get back at you and we can build a little more. You know what I'm saying? So because I see a lot of times the struggle, and it's cool and all, because that's how we learn. You know what I'm saying? We learn, we're growing, and all I'm doing is sharing things, that I've learned. I tell you, 41 years, and even before that, going to church. My grandfather was a reverend in the Pentecostal church. So I sit back there, and I was always interested reading the Bible since I was 9, 11 years old, reading it all. You know what I'm saying? And but I didn't quite understand what I understand until later on. I went to the Ansarullah Multiversity School, the University of Truth, Ansarullah. And in that school, we had a school called the Nubian Islamic Hebrews, because we tied in the Abrahamic. It was Milatu Ibrahim, and we tied in all of that. And there were tribes that still held on to those Abrahamic faiths. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look bad at that at all. I mean, you do what you do, and that's cool. There's knowledge in that. There's knowledge in everything, and it's a part of who we are. Also, it's a part of who we are. So even in the Nile Valley, because I believe, not that I believe, but you can believe your cart can take you to a destination, but not know that there's a wheel loose. So you have to investigate. And as I investigate furthermore, I come to find out that there's a a, a ancient predate genetics that we have, that the information can manifest within our reality. So that's the reason why we say ma, 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 ma. You know what I'm saying? But of course, people are going to look at that like, well, can you prove it? How can you prove that? You know what I'm saying? This and that, or that's out of it's not. I, listen, Arabic comes from it. Arabic did not make it. Hebrew comes from it. Hebrew did not make it. See? Hebrew is Aramaic, Syriac, Aramaic. These languages stem from a older language. And these tribes come from a older tribe of federation. So the first federation that was formed of hunter-gatherers was formed at the Congo Basin up to Uganda, now, spread into the Nile Valley, the Congo Basins, and the Green Sahara. But we're going to go into that. We're going to go into Atlantis. People, and the misnomer Atlantis or Utla, you know what I'm saying, in Ganawa and Utla, and how that happened. And the ancient knowledge, supreme, the advanced civil scientific knowledge that they had. You know what I'm saying? Look at the pyramids. How was the pyramid made? People ask, how was the pyramid made? If you understand 3D printing, then you understand how the pyramid was made. Clue. If you understand 3D printing, then you understand how the pyramid was made. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Again, um, this was I share this, and I wanted to just honor people that go out there to church and stuff like that. And right now, there's also Sabiic, Nuwapian Sabians. They're having newcomers class, but a lot of that is on the Sabiic, and I learned a lot from my brothers because they remembering things, and so you know check out one of their classes, or personally go to one of those cultural centers in schools and ask questions, and deal with it. Don't be afraid to expand. Don't be afraid to expand. That is your right. Expansion. That's the fifth dimension. Expansion and contracting. Do not be afraid of that. To expand your horizons, expand yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it comes into learning. But when we stay so contracted and so into our world, and we miss out all the beauties out there. Didn't Bruce Lee say that when he said, point the finger? If you look at the finger, you miss all of the other glory out there. So don't look at the finger. No. You cannot cover the sun with one finger. You know what I'm saying? That's another one. There's another saying. There's a lot of sayings. There's a lot of sayings. You know what I'm saying? No puede taparle eso con un dedo. You cannot cover the sun with one finger. Okay? And you can believe your cart is going to take you to your destination, but not know that there's a wheel loose because you haven't investigated. You should know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Not you should believe in the truth. You should know the truth. This is right. So the truth of the matter fact here is that when we look at the Bible and we look at these scriptures, a lot of time we see blueprints. And pretty soon I'll go into the Quran and you see the blueprint in there and how that also leads up to the womb too. Remember, because you say, Bismillah, Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Ar-Rahman is the womb. That's where the yielding, merciful, and we're yielding because we're able to yield again fruit. Rahman, yield. Rahmani, yield. For Raham, the womb. So it also deals with the room. The womb. I'm sorry. The womb of a woman. The womb is where all of this happens. And so we're looking at Genesis 1, it's the blueprint. The spiritual, the character and personality, the blueprint of what's being birthed into us in the womb, and then how it's manifest by giving life. And you can give life to a person by what? Again, breath, also speech. Give life through speech, through your auditory, your communication. You give life. That's the word of power. Speak your truth, bro. Speak your truth. Anyway, peace and blessings to y'all. I'm out. Those who watched. And this was and for those, again, free will offering. That's my Cash App in the bottom there. My Cash App is right here. And for free will offering, donate. I'm passing the ofrenda, offering, free will offerings. That's my Cash App, right? And that's my PayPal in the bottom. But definitely, that's my Cash App. Okay, and for free will offering. Okay, so peace and blessings. And let me do my outro. Then we're out of here. I got to do a new outro, y'all. But I'll tell you what. I'll play the high realm, and no, I'll play the outro.